You're listening to the Breadcrumb Mojito podcast, hosted by Connor Whale.
Bear, Jack, welcome.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Hey, pleasure. Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence.
That's all right.
It's a busy day, as you're saying. You're
Yeah, Saturday's always the day. Especially
Yeah.
in Ponsonby lately, Saturdays have been nuts. So
yeah, I can imagine. And we've got you with the grace of turning your phone off.
exactly, yeah, one of the
can
rare
catch you.
occasions actually. Yeah.
Perfect. So these are like our backup mics,
Oh, okay.
but this catches most of it,
Yeah, all good.
and we just got to talk at the mic pretty much, and we'll be
Want me to clip this in?
yeah, just chuck it anywhere really. So it helps sync it up now that fucking AI is a thing.
Yeah.
I can like chuck the video and all it because they all start at different times and things like this, and it syncs up all the. It's perfect. But yeah, perfect. Love it.
Okay.
You've already done half the job. Would you like a cocktail?
I would actually. Let's go back to front on this. Let's start with the banana.
Okay, banoffee pie.
Yeah, banoffee pie, old fashioned.
Happy days. Love it. Oh, how was last night?
It was good actually.
Yeah.
It was good. It was pretty steady. Long weekends are always, you're sort of umming and ahhing on a guessing game of is it going to be busy? Are people going away? Do people have money to go away? Are they still going to have money to go out and drink? Kind of thing. So no, it was really nice though. Like we were pretty steady from I think 8 o'clock right through till close really.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Love
man.
that.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Good to be on. Yeah, that's nice.
Perfect.
Now?
Love it. Yeah, go for it. It's first class cocktails, so fat washed rum and rye whiskey, cacao butter and salted butter, with quick brown fox, banana liqueur, bit of sugar.
Nice.
Pretty much it really.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
Very simplistic. But
Yeah, but
very
this
well
is this is quite a versatile one. Like affogatos, perfect for it. I even had a dude, he made a Christmas cake and he like sloshed a bit of that in it. I was like, rum fruit cake, having the banoffee, fucking brilliant. So I quite like this one. It's a good like dessert nightcap as well.
No, I can imagine that.
Yeah, Amanda and I at home will just be like, feel like a little nightcap. Yeah, and we'll just like pour a shot of it and you can just kind of sip it after dinner and
Yeah, I've got
chillax.
a bit of a sweet tooth, so that's very much me. Although we might end up working our way towards these.
Yeah. I mean, fuck it. Well, why not? So it's the last one of the day. We can go hard. And it's easier when you're the boss and you're rocking into work. You can kind of get away with it a little bit more.
A little, sometimes.
Yeah, it can't go too overboard.
Some days yes, some days no.
Love it. Well, we kind of always start at sort of an origin story. How'd you get into hospo and sort of where you started and what age that was and how the careers developed?
I started when I was 17. Mm-hmm. So I just finished high school. I kind of got shoehorned into it. So there was a bar called the Golden Dawn, which was on Ponsonby Road, like on that corner site. So where Goblin is now, actually. But it was on the first story, so where one of the fashion shops is at the front.
Yep.
And then the courtyard out the back where Hoppers is now.
Yep.
So that was the whole bar. And basically, one of the owners of it, my mum was his accountant for a long time. So they kind of teed it all up in that for when I was finishing high school, last couple of exams kind of thing. And mum's office was in Ponsonby, so I went to school at Mount Albert Grammar. So then I'd get the bus in, catch up with her kind of thing. Like, I've finished school now, like I'm the man. And,
as we all are.
and
like
then
that.
basically waiting for me was the GM of Golden Dawn, Nick Harrison, and the entertainment's manager there, Matthew Crawley. And they were kind of like, so Jack, what's the plan now? And I was like, well, I've just finished school, so I don't know. And they're like, well, you can come work for us. And it was kind of like, oh, okay, sure. Never worked hospital at all, never. I've worked like sort of warehouse jobs or labouring kind of thing through high school. And then they're like, no, you come work for us now. So, okay, cool. And basically that was the start, really. Rocked up there and a lot of really good people brought me under their wing.
Yeah.
So I started right at the bottom. I wouldn't even call it barbacking. I was just basically, if there was something needing cleaning, Jack did it.
Yep.
If someone spewed up somewhere, Jack cleaned it up.
Yeah.
If someone fucking blocked up the toilet, Jack cleans it up. Polishing plates, polishing glassware, that's Jack. So that was me for quite some time, and just learning and by osmosis, really, of just being around all these great people. And it was quite, a lot of them were sort of older guys, like probably about 22 or 23, that were training me as well. So being 17 and fresh out of high school was kind of great to be exposed to that a bit too. And then that was there and obviously it was a very cool bar too. You know, it was a bit of a cult bar.
Okay. Had it been around for quite a while?
Yeah, I think it was about. I was there for just shy of the last 3 years. It was open, so it had been open. I think at that point for just under 5 years.
Yeah, well, that's a solid
so it
life.
had very much like established its reputation.
Yep.
Everyone knew what it was, kind of thing. It was considered, if not the best, one of constantly the best bars in Auckland, and it did a lot of things. It was quite revolutionary in a lot of ways. You know, it was sort of the first place that did craft beer only.
Okay.
Like they sort of put Hallertau on the map, and they didn't do lager, no lager on tap. And
Okay.
This is for a bar that opened in the end of 2010.
Yeah.
So to turn around to Aucklanders and say no lager. Oh, and by the way, guys, we actually only do natural wine. So I always joke that with wine in particular, I kind of learned a lot of things back to front. Because I worked at this place that was all either natural, organic, biodynamic wines, and then I'd sort of be, drinking all of these fantastic wines at work kind of thing, and then I'd go to university parties and I'm at my girlfriend's flat and she's got her Witherhills. Kind of thing, it's that sort of thing. I'd say to my boss Nick, I was like, Nick, you've really
you need to get some Witherhills in, mate.
Yeah, you've just kind of you're not preparing me fully, Nick. I feel like I'm learning things back to front, But yeah, had some really beautiful experiences there.
Yeah.
And some great people, and I think that's what gave me my love for the industry, and just, you just work your way up over time. So then started barbacking more regularly, and then maybe after I got to about 19 or so, started training me a bit more on the floor side of things. I think Nick held me back for a long time from doing that, but it depends what type of venue you're in. We were a very busy bar, and you had to know your stuff, and you're serving adults, you have to be sort of comfortable enough having that sort of conversation with adults. I mean, people can tell that you're a kid, they're not gonna hold you in the same way. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're not gonna. It makes it really hard for you to make a recommendation and things like that,
totally,
because they're kind of like, I've been drinking wine for as long as this kid's been alive. What the fuck does he know, type thing.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of that, but then it's just progression. People see you around more, you get more confident, you learn. I think that was the key. Is I just always kept learning.
Yeah.
And like I say, the people that were around me were really good for that too. And lots of different. And then eventually moved into doing a bit of bartending towards the end, which was sort of right around the time that things were starting to wrap up there.
Yeah.
It was only meant to be a pop-up bar for 6 months, and it went for 7.5 years.
Yeah.
So it was quite, by the end of that 7.5 years, it was very much ready in a lot of ways to shut down.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Well, that's quite, talk about proof of concept. If you're going to do a pop-up for 6 months and it has the longevity of that, that's...
So no, it was very, I consider myself very fortunate to have been a part of the experience there. And that's where really it all started for me. And so I'm incredibly grateful to a lot of people there. A few of them I still work with now. Lara Lopez, Kero Flaherty, a few of the guys, still come in they're our punters now. Who've sort of retired, or even lots of guys that were from overseas actually, who really just, they didn't have to, but they just did, took me under their wing and showed me a lot. I'm incredibly grateful for that.
Yeah, that's great. It's, it sounds like you really got a good leg up to set yourself up for a hospitality career, being mentored by some great people, and
and even the contacts that someone like Nick had, it's kind of, it's funny now, so my one of my barbacks, Johnny, whose dad was one of the owners at Golden Dawn. So Johnny's now the age I was when I started, and he's been working with me for a year now at Goblin. And I always remember Johnny as a kid saying to me when I was 18, he's like, "So are you like Nick?" And I was like, "No, I'm about as far from Nick as you can get." There's like Nick, and then there's 50 feet of crap, and then there's me, and then maybe there's a little bit more stuff that needs cleaning, and then there's me. That's how far away I am from Nick, kind of thing. And now it's sort of like I've become Nick, and that's where it's very full circle moment in life, kind of thing now.
Yeah, that is quite cool.
It is very cool. Yeah.
I mean, it's already like there's a predetermined rapport already established because you're already sort of mixing in the same circle and helping bring up the younger generation and things like that.
Totally.
That's great. That's really cool.
You have to. Like I look at some of the young guys that we've got, and and I say to them, I go, look, guys, I was you 10 years ago. So if you take your opportunities, work hard, you don't know where you're going to go with this industry, and that's kind of where I've been in hospo.
Yep.
Is just different things pop up, and you kind of think, oh, okay, cool, that's a good opportunity to take. And,
yeah.
And I was around the right people that I'm in a position where I'm in now, where I'm quite fortunate, but I've sort of stood on the shoulders of lots to put me in this place.
Yeah, fuck yeah, love that. So where did you transition after that? Like, because you say there's a lot of barback and a lot of shit jobs and things like that, and
so
then transition kind of
finally
into
started
a little
doing a bit of bartending in that, and a bit more. Mostly, like, we had two bars. We had the inside bar, which was cocktails and that sort of thing. That's where Laura would basically man that thing 50 hours a week.
Yeah.
And then we had this outside bar that pretty much was just speed rail.
Yeah.
Speed rail, wine by the glass, tap beer.
Yeah.
And so that's where I started pretty much, learning how to bartend there, and then they slowly integrate you with a few more cocktail stuff. And then once the bar was kind of wrapping up, it's sort of that typical thing, you just get shoulder tapped in hospo. So I think it was a friend's mum, Kate Paul, she was involved in like the management group at Depot in Fed Deli.
Okay, yeah.
So she kind of said to me, she was like, hey Jack, like if you need a job, like let us know. Because I was still in my last year of university, so I was going to university all through working at Golden Dawn. So I still needed a job to fund that last part of my degree.
Let's pause there. What was your degree?
So I did a business degree. So I did a double major in management and marketing.
Okay.
But I was on a scholarship actually, which was quite fortunate. So I was on which I laugh at now for what my job title is. Like I was the Future Leaders Scholarship kind of thing, which I very much look forward to going to some reunion thing.
Yeah.
And basically when they're like, so what kind of leader are you now? And it's like, well, I own a nightclub. That's the leader I have become. So,
but at least it's something like the amount of people that I talk to that, have studied something that has zero relation to what they do now in hospitality and things like that. You were learning the right sort of stuff to be able to put yourself in a position to own a venue.
The management side in particular.
Yeah.
But then there's certain things that, with hospitality, it's one of those things where, you sit there and there's like, there's nothing in a textbook that covers this. Something will happen and you're just sitting there at the end of the night like, where's that bit in the textbook? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I don't remember the module of all of the power has gone out
today. Yeah. What do I do when we had that a couple months ago, the transformers caught fire outside the front of the building. And I'm like, this is not in my house. Like, sure, I've got a fire extinguisher, but usually management is you put out fires. It's like today I literally put out a fire.
Shit. Yeah. Right.
So I was doing that and then doing my degree, and so then went down to Fed Deli.
Yep.
Actually, it was real interesting. I was there for a year. Real interesting year, actually. It was, again, like part of this was sort of right at kind of the peak of when Depot was like just a beast.
Yeah.
And the talent that it had in that place, and then even the same at Fed Deli for something that's, a little bit of a theme. It's a New York diner.
Yep.
For a bit of a theme place, even though we didn't like to call it that, the talent that was there, and it was a really, again, a cool team to be a part of. It was quite a heavy male team at Golden Dawn most of the time, and then at Fed it was the total opposite. It was completely woman dominated, which was a really fun experience to be a part kind of thing. It was like all the girls were a bit older, like a couple of years older than me, so I just got treated like their little brother, basically. So you really learn a lot about people in that time. And then at the same time, you're working in this really fast-paced restaurant that, pretty much bang, breakfast right through to dinner, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so you'd start doing all sorts of different kind of services, and just seeing that organisation as well. And it kind of went through a bit of a phase over that year too. I think a lot of their top people were leaving, but at the same time, it was like that sort of next tier were also exiting, and I sort of, I'd done a good year there, and then I was quite ready for the next sort of challenge type thing. I think I was, in my arrogance of youth, pushing for a little bit more too. And then one morning I'd sort of decided, I think that's me. Like, I've done my year there, and it's time to move on.
On to bigger and better things.
Well, and then it sort of all happened by chance. Like, so Laura was running Love Bucket up on K Road, and I just woke up one morning. There was like a post on Facebook. She's like, "Darlings, I need someone. Call me, kiss, kiss, kiss." And I was sort of like, "Okay, well, that's like the universe telling me this is an opportunity." I just got my manager's cert, and so I was like, "Well, actually, yeah." And we caught up, and instantly, like, the connection was there again. Like, she'd taught me how to bartend, and so to go up and like help her run a cocktail bar on K Road was something that was.
Yeah, and that would have been like in K Road's heyday as well.
It was what year was it then? 2019. So like it was, that last pre-COVID era. Like Love Bucket was, it's tucked away behind where Art Shows is now.
Yep.
So it was, off the beaten track a little bit. If you knew one of those places. It had a big curtain that basically covered anyone being able to see in. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it had this beautiful back bar, and obviously it was owned by Hallertau at the time. So Haley and Stephen were really awesome to work under and to kind of see how they operated, like what they've done with their business with the brewery is monumental.
Yep.
And then it was just this crazy year on K Road, basically. It was a lot of fun.
I mean, there's things that you would see on K Road that you wouldn't see in other parts of the city.
No. And I was 21 at the time, so like managing basically being the 2IC for this venue on K Road. But again, like loads of good dudes worked there at the time, like this Canada, we called him, his name was Kevin, the ice hockey player from Canada. He worked in a cocktail bar, kind of thing. He was a really cool guy to be around. He's sort of one of those people in a hospital that you just meet. I think he was an insurance salesman in his mid-20s, and then his house burnt down, and he was like, "Actually, no, I don't want to do the rat race," and just jetted off. Kind of thing.
Interesting life. Very interesting.
And then another guy came back from London, Salvador, who then went on to open Ada. I think he won a few awards with them as well. Sal came back from London, and he was just this knowledge base of like ideas and stuff that I hadn't met anyone like before fully, especially for cocktail bartending.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of fun. And then obviously COVID happened. And that was kind of the, shutdown. I think Hallertau had kind of been assessing their things and knew where the weak link was, kind of thing, and what their core business was. As fun as a cocktail bar in K Road is, it's not part of the brewery's core business. So they kind of wanted to cut ties there, and it was sort of like, okay. And at the time, I was considering exiting the industry. I'd always said to my parents when I finished my degree while I was at Fed Deli, I'd sort of said, "Oh, look, I think my gap year was essentially working at Love Bucket." The university wanted me to go back to do my master's in management, and I think my parents were kind of wanting that too. And then I was sort of looking at a few internships, so I decided maybe it was time to do the grown up thing. So I applied for this internship. So I don't know if I should. I'll say them. Goodman Fielder. Bottom of Nelson Street, the food wholesaler kind of thing. So they hire a marketing intern once every 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
And so I got to the final 3 of the interview process and we're sitting around doing these interviews and that. And I remember going in because I remember I was dressed better. I was in a better suit. Like anyone who's like worked with me at like Onzo and that knows I love my suits. I was in a better suit than like most of the other men there. And I was getting interviewed by these 3 guys who were all in their like mid to late 40s. Looked very dull. And I remember looking out at some point partway through this interview like the final interview where they sort of confirm it, you know, and you'd be on the corporate path, and respectable, some may say.
Not as degenerates in
yeah,
Osmo.
yeah. And I remember looking out to the offices, and it was just every cubicle was a copy and paste.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember looking out and thinking, man, this ain't me.
Yeah.
And I purposely tanked the interview.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, purposely tanked it. Yeah. Can't remember quite what I said or that, but I just remember like shutting off really and giving like poor answers kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're sort of wanting you to really explain ideas, and I was thinking, you guys don't get me. Like they'll sort of look at my CV and being like all hospo and that, and they couldn't understand. They're like, so why have you like run this place on K Road kind of thing?
Yeah,
Like, well, actually, it's pretty cool, and like it's quite a you learn a lot by doing that sort of thing, and it's a different lifestyle, and that rounds you out as a person. And they just couldn't see it, and I was like, actually, no, this ain't it.
Yeah, they've been in that rat race for all their life. They just, it's anyone that they know has gone to a nightclub is their children.
Yeah, basically, and they're kind of, they're in their mid-40s, and they're already like, time watching for when they can, retire.
Yeah,
basically. And I just thought, that ain't me. And I don't know where the plan was going to go kind of thing, but I just remember thinking I ain't doing that.
Yeah, just fucking wing it.
And just, we'll see where this thing goes really. And thankfully, I do say that, my parents had the patience when I said that, of being like, hey guys, so I'm actually not going to go back and do my master's, and I kind of tanked this, so I guess we'll just see how this plays out.
Sorry about it.
Them, looking back on it, actually, now that that was 5.5 years ago, I thank them for like the patience they showed in that moment, or the trust of like, actually, Jack could be onto something. As I explained, to them, I was like, do a master's in management. I'm like, I'm 22, like. Fuck, do I know about being a fucking master of what? Like, you get people who go and do it, and it's like, cool. Have you ever worked with people or like managed difficult situations or big teams or, and they never have, So they're, don't get me wrong. I'm a huge advocate for education, but at the same time, there's a lot of educated fools.
Yeah. Fuck it. Ain't that the truth? Yeah. I totally believe that. And sometimes, a little bit of street education goes so much further.
Goes a long way. And I see it now looking at different people that we bring into our business who's got that little bit of street smart. And that's what you want.
Yeah, for sure. You think more creatively.
Yeah, especially in our game. And then again another shoulder tap opportunity sort of came out of the blue. So when Commercial Bay was opening up, there was obviously the American group of Roco that had Saxon and Prol, Ghost Donkey, Pony Room, and Liquorette. They were expanding to NZ and had done like the joint thing with Commercial Bay. And, and then I got shoulder tapped for that. Basically, one of the guys, two of them at the same time, the directors from NZ, because they'd it was like a weird merging of like people from Saver Group and people from sort of the depot Fed scene. And they kind of mashed themselves together, and sort of everyone brought their kind of big guns in. Yeah. And so names had been sort of thrown around who we could get and that sort of thing. And one of the guys, Vincey Ginnin, who had been involved in the early days of like 1885 and Britomart Country Club.
Yep. Epic.
Yeah.
Epic venues. Yeah.
They need to bring that one back, actually. Britomart Country Club
was good fun.
Place.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
And he had come into Love Bucket a few times, and then I think he put my name forward. And then the guys that had been part of the sort of depot and Fed group, they'd kind of heard of me. Warren Ford, who was basically the operational brain behind depot, they were kind of like, okay, well, we could get this kid in, like, So they sort of put me in at Pony Room and just made me the bar manager there. And again, that was a great experience of opening a place, and it was super ambitious. You're opening 4 venues in the space of 3 months for a company. But again, it was just being around the people that were there. Especially, I was 23 at the time, sort of being just given the bar at Pony Room to run and kind of being like, there you go. You sort this out. Here's a rough guide, but you sort it out.
That's great. It's definitely sort of a testament to what they see in you and what they see your potential future being. To give you such a massive responsibility, It's still realistically such a young age.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not saying that I was good all the time at these things. I struggled plenty.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I think that's, but I've always just backed myself to push through it.
Yeah.
But again, I was around really good people there. So Jeremy Niven, I'd already met Jeremy because he was at GG's when I was at Love Bucket.
Yep.
But then he went to Saxon and Pro for a bit. He sort of took me under his wing. And that was really great insight for how to actually run a bar.
Yep.
Like kind of the mix of, you're in a restaurant as well, so you've got to be a little bit more organised kind of thing. And, your back ends are a little bit more tighter.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so Jeremy kind of really showed me a lot of how to do that. Johnny Park was obviously up at Ghost Donkey too. So Johnny was really great to lean on at that time as well. And again, lots of great bartenders were at Ghost Donkey to begin with too. So again, it was like, even though I was in this like management position, it was really great to be able to lean on such a wide variety of experience and group.
Yeah, but I mean, both Jeremy and Johnny,
yeah,
they're good at what they do. They're really good at what they do,
and great people with that too.
Yeah,
there's it's quite an ego you can have to be the most sort of decorated and awards wise or like confident or best bartender in a room. There's big ego that can come with that.
Yeah.
But for them, they're very grounded. At the same time and that's why you can see why they're running their own joints now. Because they bring through their people so well and look after their teams. So that was quite an experience down at Commercial Bay though. It was interesting time. Obviously, it was like right after the first lockdown. So it was kind of the whole country and the world was trying to get back on its feet. What were the new realities?
I mean, the world's a lot different since then, and it's hospitality. So far, I don't think has ever been quite the same as what it was before COVID. It's just different. Now it's still good. Still busy.
It's still good, but it's different.
It's different.
People changed during that couple of years.
For sure. I personally think there was a through that lockdown period of time, there was I'm trying to find the words. There was like a generation or a crew of people that were turning 18 around that era that didn't get the same sort of 18 that we possibly got in terms of going out and celebrating at a nightclub and getting to show bouncers your ID on your birthday and finally being allowed in and things like this. It's that wasn't there from them.
It's sort of only now my younger barbacks like Cooper and Johnny, they've only just turned 18 this year. And they're getting to experience that. And it sort of seems like they're the first kind of kids now that are getting to do that again, properly. Without kind of, it was a weird time for stagnated a lot of people's growth maybe. And then even within the industry, and I think that's where I benefited from this, definitely. I know I did, but a lot of really talented people left the industry. At the same time. And, and it wasn't that tier that were like general managers or restaurant managers or bar managers. It was the next tier just underneath that were sort of late 20s, early 30s that carried a lot of responsibility in venues, had a lot of experience that all just left at the same time. And it left this big vacuum. And you probably see it where guys shot through. I definitely benefited from that. I would say like Theo at Truth or Dare. Like Theo was a guy who benefited from that quite a bit too. We're both similar age, so kind of meant that you got pushed ahead and maybe you're a little bit out of your depth, but you managed to make it work.
And the best way to learn to swim is you need to fucking swim. It's a life or death situation.
It's no tough. I mean, I'm one of my old managers at Golden Dawn. I remember he said to me once, he's just like, Jack, there's no easy way to say this to you, but you have to find it from within, but you need to be faster. And he's like, I can't really coach you how to do that. You just have to do it. So I'm going to leave you with that one to figure out, and then we'll come back to it in a couple of weeks and see how you're doing.
Just be faster. And like you say, it's up to you to figure it out. It comes from within. It's either it's going to work or it isn't. And everything's a decision, and you make the decision: are you going to make it work, or are you not going to make it work? And I firmly believe that. I'm pretty sure as a manager, I've said to people,
you just got to be faster.
Yep.
You know, or you just got to be better.
It's a very simple message, but it says a lot. And you can apply it to a lot of different things, guys.
Yeah.
It's not just be faster at polishing glassware. It's like just be better. Like,
Just move with purpose.
Yeah,
all
move
the
with
time.
purpose. Yeah.
Brace yourselves. It's sponsorship time. I know ads can feel like the Broccoli podcast, but today we're talking about the Bar Society, a company I own and operate. So think of it as supporting my broccoli farm. This goes out to all cocktail lovers and hospitality pros. Are you ready to elevate your drinking experience? Introducing the Bar Society, New Zealand's leading clear ice supplier. Whether you're stirring down a classic old-fashioned or crafting the perfect gin and tonic, there's no substitute for crystal clear ice. Not only does our ice look stunning, but it also melts slower, keeping your drinks colder and your flavors perfectly balanced. From home bartenders to high-end establishments, the Bar Society's here to bring your beverages to the next level. Order today and see why we're trusted by the best bars and restaurants in New Zealand. Visit thebarsociety.co.nz and let us transform your drinks. The Bar Society. Elevate your drinking experience.
So then Commercial Bay. It was an interesting time. And then obviously I was kind of in these roles that were management, but sort of like on the periphery of seeing how things run, which I thought was really, looking back, was a really good way of learning. I obviously had responsibility to look after the bar and that, but I wasn't like responsible for the entire business or anything.
Exactly. And you weren't getting into the nuts and bolts of everything.
No, exactly.
Just yet.
I could keep an eye and see in from the outside and still basically sit at the table.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Not say anything, but just be in the room and sit at the table and listen.
It's a good place to learn.
It was a good place to learn.
Yeah.
It was a very good place to learn. And then unfortunately, the second lockdown really kind of killed that. That gained a lot of momentum in those places. And then Saxon and Parole got shut down. Kind of the writing was on the wall, I think, for Pony Room.
Yeah.
And then, in that long lockdown, I was kind of thinking, okay, I might need to look around here.
Yeah.
And that's when, again, another shoulder tap.
Yeah.
And then you're sort of thinking, I don't know what my plan is from here. I have an idea of where I want to get to, but I don't know what the next step is. And it was the Emmett Group for Onslow.
Yep.
So one of the directors of the business down at Commercial Bay, Vincey, he knew Helen and Josh. And so it was quite funny because it was during all the lockdowns. And that, so I wasn't really, not really like thinking of business kind of thing.
Yeah.
We were all off, it was socialism at its finest. So I think I was just, working out every day. I was at the beach, blah, blah, blah. And then
hanging out.
they've been trying to get hold of me and I just hadn't been answering any calls or anything. And eventually they phoned my mum. And then my mum called me and was like, "Oi!" She's like, "Effing, like, so-and-so's been trying to get hold of you," kind of thing. Like, pick up your phone. And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I answered this phone call and they were looking for someone.
Yeah.
And so I kind of had a bit of a chat with them, and they were the second people that I'd had. The GM when I was at Depot and Fed, Rachel, she was the first person that kind of said to me, hospo could be a career for you, Jack. If you think about it, like we're developing like sort of how Australia is kind of thing, and it's becoming a real, potential option for people as a career choice that isn't just like, oh, what are you waiting to do?
Yeah.
Next? Oh, so like you do this bartending just while you're, deciding
While you're
what to-
studying your business thing.
yeah. Yeah, and then you're gonna, go be respectable and sit in your cubicle. And then Helen and Josh, kind of when I first talked to them, they sort of said similar, and it was kind of again first time I'd sort of heard that again, and this was a couple of years removed from the first time I heard it. So I was kind of like, okay, and they'd sort of said to me, look, we want to bring you in a management position kind of thing, but right now we've got no bartenders. That's the reality of it. So we just need you to come in and be on a bar.
Yep.
I think I was one of the only bartenders that was on a salary, basically, in Auckland at the time.
And this was the stepping stone.
Yeah, this was the stepping stone kind of thing. So I came into this, real professional environment. Obviously, like Josh has been at the elite. He was Gordon Ramsay's 2IC for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And Helen had a wealth of experience in her business career in New York and that. So they were quite a sort of, they're a bit of a powerhouse
Yeah.
duo together. And they, I hadn't heard much about the restaurant, to be honest, and kind of did some research and sort of thought to myself, okay, I might be a little out of my depth there. this is and I went in and met the team for the first time, and I still maintain like this team that I was in is one of the best teams I've ever been in.
Yeah,
kind of
wow.
thing. Just the quality of the staff, kind of thing. Not the easiest people to work with at times because we were, there was a lot of ego, kind of thing. We, when you're really that good at your jobs, like there was a lot of ego in it, but we managed to make it work, kind of thing. Even if we'd argue, we made it work, and I think it was coming out of that big long lockdown. And it was just crazy before Christmas.
And I think everyone's kind of a little bit antsy after that being shut down for so long that, for people that are working in sort of that status of venue, there's a, just personally, like, there's a part of you that identifies with what you're doing. And when that gets taken away from you, you lose a portion of your identity because you don't really know. You're like, I'm the dude that's in the bar in the restaurant, and without that, I don't really know what the fuck I am.
Yeah.
And so, then the tensions can rise when you're then placed in a newer team.
Yeah.
And everyone has conflicting ideas, and you don't necessarily trust the experience of your co-workers.
Sort of like, and we just got thrown in with how busy it was, and I just had to trust these people were good, and they sort of had to just trust that I was good. Kind of thing, what I mean? Like, there was sort of all of a sudden that this guy got bored and was just like, oh, Jack's going to be here to help sort out the bar, kind of thing, because, I mean, Arun Rogers was the bar manager there, and Arun's great, but he was on his own. Like, all the bartenders had left during the lockdown, so it was basically him and I for that first month back in December 2021. I think we'd basically just toss a coin each night as to like who's coming in the next day to open. It'd be like 1 or 2 in the morning, and it's like, okay, bro, who's coming back in at 10 a.m. tomorrow to open this thing? And then basically we're both doing. Yeah, we were on salary that month. It was horrendous for us. We got dicked. Like, we sat there at the end of it, and I think Josh did give us a cash bonus at the end of the month. I think he got told like, "Oi, these two have like worked 20 extra hours a week for nothing,
Fucking hell.
just to make this thing run pre-Christmas." But and then kind of got more involved there, and it's such a different to anything else I'd done before. I'd sort of done I'd done this sort of very cult bar at Golden Dawn, beautiful sort of courtyard afternoon experiences, and then late night parties, and then done this real very straightforward service style at a diner, and then late nights in K Road, and then kind of a bit more of a refined but casual service at the Pony Room, and then of course I was thrown into this beast.
Michelin level,
pretty much,
fine dining,
and everyone there, this is like their career, kind of thing. No one's messing around, kind of thing.
There's no one there just doing it because they're studying. It's a choice to be there.
It is a choice to be there. And a really interesting time for me to come into it as well. Like, again, for my own learning. Like, they were in a very aggressive growth mindset, which was really encouraging to see and to be a part of. Like, they had big plans for Onslow. They'd had the Oyster Inn on the island, which I got to go over there and bartend, which was quite cool, actually. It was basically, go over there in the morning on the ferry kind of thing, and then you just rock up to the bar, open it up, you go on a 2-hour, 3-hour break in the afternoons. But again, like, the Oyster Inn's one of those bars where, a beautiful bar, if you've ever been, by the way, it's like smack bang in the middle of the restaurant. And you're it, kind of thing. And when you're doing your thing, everyone can see it.
Center stage.
But then you get this wide variety of, you'll get, it's Waiheke Island, so you'll get mum, dad and the kids wanting fish and chips and a bottle of Sav, and they want to be out in an hour. And then you've got, you'll have some billionaire family coming and they want silver service, and they will be extremely fussy on their martini, and you've got like just an 18-year-old who's doesn't even know what it is, kind of thing, that you're having to train in the moment on how to make these drinks. And that's the variety of a place like that. So, and then of course what they've done now with Guilt opening, what was it, last year? It's
another great restaurant.
Another great restaurant. Like, so they were just in this really aggressive growth mindset, and to be a part of that and learn was quite something.
Yeah.
And then I sort of stepped into, I kind of put myself through an apprenticeship, so to speak, because I wanted to be a manager there and I wanted to succeed. But to do that, I was like, well, I actually need to go back and just be a waiter.
Yeah.
I'm big on it. I've played rugby and rugby league at like prem level since I was left high school, and for me it was always a thing of like, if you're gonna lead people, they got to know that you can do your bit. So, if I was gonna tell these waiters who are like super talented and really onto it how to do their job, I may not know how to do it as well as them, but at least they know that I can do it. Kind of thing. That I have to go and do that. So I went back to being a waiter for about 6 months. Just in the section, that kind of thing, every day, and just grinding it out, learning more about it, and then eventually, again, it's a few people leave, few people move things around. There's a bit of a gap left, and I sort of stepped into it to fill, and ended up as the assistant restaurant manager, which I was.
You kind of stumbled into it.
Yeah, I sort of stumbled into it. Like it was really like, I remember when it was sort of loosely happening, and I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. Again, am I out of my depth? Maybe, but we're just going to go with it. I'm a big one in faking it till you make it.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So,
fuck yeah. It's the best way of doing things, I believe. Like you gotta find out what you're made of.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah.
Going into a service, say a busy Friday, Saturday night service in a restaurant like Onslow or Guilt, it's, when I was in restaurants, we would call it going to war.
Okay.
The war starts at 6 o'clock, and we're going to war, and it's people are coming at you wanting shit. You got rude people, you got polite people, you've got problems that are going to have it. All of these things. We're going to war for 6 hours, and the reality of war is you're never prepared for it.
No, I prefer showtime.
Showtime's
my one.
There we go.
I think I always said to the team about it, swan-like. And someone's like, what the fuck? I'm going on these tangents at briefings, like about like, guys, tonight we're going to be like swans tonight in service. And then someone's like, what are you on about? And I'm like, ever graceful on the surface, kicking like a motherfucker underneath the water. And that's what it is really, is you've got to be this calm exterior, but on the inside it's like yeah. And that's what I think a lot of like that level is.
Yeah.
And it is a really cool time there. And and I've always I've always said like my time at Onslow really set me up to do Goblin.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of being part of that sort of, it's like corporate for hospitality almost.
Yeah.
Like the level that they were running it to, and the structures and that sort of thing that you're learning and being, and it went from being a business that was 2 restaurants and it was maybe just shy of 40 people to then all of a sudden with guilds and with like an expansion of an admin team, you're a 100 people company. Yeah. And you're kind of like, oh, okay, this is quite like...
Yeah, this is a different beast.
Yeah, this is a different beast now. Yeah. And it happened very quickly for them too. And there's always a bit of like growing pains and that sort of thing with that. But again, from someone being a part of that, really interesting to observe.
Yeah.
And to see and kind of for having a plan of, again, I didn't know where I was going to end up or kind of what the plan was, but I was kind of like, okay, this is like, again, just keep adding it away to what I know. And and then kind of the opportunity came up to talk a bit about Goblin and that, and I was at a point where I think I was ready for the next step.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I'd be ready to do it at the time. And I remember having a conversation to that effect of like, hey, I think I'm ready to make the next step and like run a place. That's currently, and it's some people look at this negatively, and especially if you own a business, you might look at someone saying this to you in a negative light. But I was sort of like, hey, I'm at a point where I think I'm nearly ready to run a place. Currently in our business model, though, there's nowhere to kind of move into that.
Yeah.
So like, what's the plan for me, guys? Like, what do we do when? Because one day I'm going to wake up and know that I can do it.
Yep.
And we've probably got a problem then, because currently what I'm doing then ain't gonna fulfill that drive. I can come in and pick up a paycheck.
Yep.
Easy enough, but I'm going to get... I know me, I get bored very quickly.
Yep.
So I kind of know that I would be...
Yeah, go for it. I didn't even realise I'm bloody nurse in mine.
Yeah, and that kind of happened. I'd sort of had this conversation with Josh and Helen about it, and it hadn't gone that great. Like, I don't quite know if they saw it from my perspective as much, and I probably came in a little bit too hot with how I delivered it too.
Yeah.
But then, and then we kind of find out, like, as these things happen, it just unfolds, and my boss at the time had to go away because she had a family member unwell in the UK. And so I kind of got thrown into the role of being sort of the acting restaurant manager type thing. And I think it was for maybe a month or 5 weeks. And at some point in that, I don't know when it was maybe the April of 2024 or something. It was kind of, I realized then I was like, I know that I can kind of like run a place where I could be ready to like take it on, so to speak. And that was kind of like, okay, this is okay.
It sounds like you were looking for that challenge
exactly.
as well.
I was wanting the challenge, and then it's like, okay, I actually know that I'm like ready for this challenge now. Okay, so what are we kind of doing? And the talk about Goblin had already been happening. And that for me was even more of a Yeah, I mean, do you want me to get into like the whole?
I would love to.
Okay,
yeah. Fuck yeah.
So obviously, like, so now I GM at Goblin, and it came about quite. Again, by chance or by, kind of, again, like sort of a not knowing kind of thing. Definitely was not on my bingo card. So basically, the owners of it, so there's Hans, who'd been involved, one of the guys who was involved with Golden Dawn, Stephen Ma, who owns that whole building. So it's Hopper's landlord as well. He had kind of been thinking about doing something in the upstairs of the space. Like, I think it was just office space, and he kind of thought that he could develop it into something more. And so, like, an old acquaintance of his, who's been a business partner for a lot of things with him, he was kind of like, well, we'll open a bar. And then they kind of... Steve, so my mum did his accounts for close to 10 years, so Steve's known me since I was 12. So it was kind of this thing
it's a good foot in the door there.
Yeah, and it was quite this moment of, like, getting shoulder tapped, of being like, hey, there's a few of us thinking about opening a bar. What are your thoughts? And this is end of 2023, 10 days before Christmas, which anyone knows in hospital is mental. So I told him to fuck off. So I told him to fuck off, and then I think it was like, oh, we'll chat in the new year, And I was like, yep, you betcha. And then we did, and they were like, we want you to see the space. Because I hadn't been in that building since it was Golden Dawn. And so they were like, we want you to check out the space. It's the upstairs. And that kind of intrigued me as well. Then I was like, okay. So then, and I reckon before the guys brought me in to see it, I reckon Stephen must have talked to my mum, because I was off for the first time in ages from Onslow. It was the first time I'd gone on holiday. It was Arun Rogers' wedding was in Queenstown. And then I had a mate stag do that weekend, like afterwards. So I was going to be away from work for about 8 days or so. And so I still think they must have teed this up, because basically they brought me in on the Sunday night. They're like, why don't you come in after you finish at the restaurant kind of thing, and we'll have a beer, we'll have a look around, we'll have a bit of a chat. And they kind of brought me in, and they were like, so...
Little ambush.
Totally. It was a fucking ambush. And because it was like, what would you do with the space, Jack? And I'm kind of like seeing where the bar is now was like, because it was offices. There was a big, long, shared table. Thing. So I was like, well, like, you sort of go, okay, where's the plumbing, where's the electrical, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, there's the bar, there's this, I might put this there, and I don't know, like maybe put some stuff in the far room kind of thing. And we had this big, long chat about it all and how it could look and what kind of bar we could be and that sort of thing. And then I had to go away to this, I was on holiday for the next week then, but I'm sitting in a hotel room by myself in Queenstown,
just nursing that idea,
mulling it over the whole time kind of thing and thinking about it. And then I kind of was like, okay, look, I'll consult.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? I was like, I'll consult, guys, no problem. And at the same time, I'm having these feelings of being, I want more of a challenge kind of thing. And I tried talking to different people about getting involved, and the only one who'd sort of shown an interest was Theo. And that was more by chance than by design. It was more we bumped into each other one night, and I was deep in thought about some stuff, and he was kind of talked to me about his plans. And then, yeah, we kind of, and then more people I talked to, and everyone was like, what's your involvement, Jack? Like, what's your involvement? And I was like, I'm going to consult. And then I could see them going, like,
What does that mean?
what does that mean? And then eventually, and then I thinking about the April, I remember the phone call with the guys, and I said, look, I'll run it. No, I'll go, we'll go all in. If we're going to go, I'll run it, I'll front it and make it happen kind of thing. And I think, to be honest, they needed to hear that from me before really going after it then.
Yeah. They needed you to have the confidence in yourself.
Basically,
that you could take it on. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's a lot. Like those guys, to give the keys to a 26-year-old.
Yeah.
And say, hey, we want you to like open this up. I've never opened a venue before. As like the boss kind of thing, or like the main decision maker on certain things.
It's a big beast to take on. It's a big step.
I probably didn't underestimated it at the time for sure.
Yeah.
And then a few things that happened, like obviously I played league and I dislocated my AC joint in my shoulder, so I was off work for a bit then too, and it was more kind of like, okay, well, I've got time to start like thinking about that. And then really put more thought process into that, and I think it came to a head probably, and I was like ready, and I knew we were going to start construction soon and that sort of thing, and I needed to build a team, and so that's when I exited Onslow at that time, which I still like a great learning experience. Really interesting company to be a part of, and that's why I even say now, like, without what I learned there, the structure of it all, I couldn't have opened Goblin and set it up kind of thing. And so
and like you say, it was more that sort of corporate hospitality structure. It was, not quite fast and loose like a nightclub is.
There was quite an emotional tie too to doing Goblin. Like, obviously, quite a few of us involved were all ex-Golden Dawn. So our marketing brain and creative, Hamish Steptoe, like he worked at the Dawn. Obviously, Stephen had his involvement there, even though he's not fully involved with this. And then, I brought in Lauda. Lauda was always going to come join, and Kira was there. And, for me, it was a case of it meant too much to too many people. I had to get it right, because a lot of people were like, oh, it's the second coming of Golden Dawn. And it's, it's going to be different, but yes, but no.
There's that nostalgia.
Totally. There's the nostalgia, and for me, it was a lot of pressure to deliver it, kind of thing. And and I look at the people that are behind it, kind of thing, with me, and it means too much to them. Almost for me to screw it up, so to speak. Like it is though. Like
it's a big weight for you to carry.
It was a bit of a weight, and sometimes I talk about it to the whole team, and that I get emotional about it actually. And I can't look at Kira, because Kira starts crying. Like, these are people that know me since I was 17. So they've sort of seen the evolution to this level now of delivering this, and we just kind of pulled the trigger and went for it. Really, I think that 6 weeks of construction aged me immensely. I remember, like, we were still building the venue on the last day. Like, we're opening, and it's the opening day, and it's 3 a.m. and we're building stuff, and I'm just sitting outside with a beer thinking, like, what the fuck are we doing? But kind of going, no, it's going to be ready, it's going to be fun, we'll be ready, and let's go for it.
What a journey. And, by the sounds of it, a very fast-paced, well-directed journey. It seems like from hearing the sort of story of how it's come about, you've been able to touch and be involved in every facet of hospitality that you needed to in order to take on this role. You got to see, the nightclub, the fast-paced deli, all of the restaurant, a fly on the wall for the management sort of stuff. That all of this was just an amalgamation of experiences setting you up to be able to take on this big challenge,
which I didn't think it would be. But it's just kind of ended up being that case.
Happenstance.
And again, I attribute it to a lot of the great people that I've been around. Like, I am a result of their efforts, basically. And a lot of the different managers that I've worked under Nick kind of gave me that first original love for hospo.
Yep.
Lauda pretty much taught me most things I know about bartending, kind of thing. Then going into like Fed and Depot, there's the amount of managers there, kind of thing, that I all learned for observing, kind of thing, in this beast of a venue. To then, kind of being at Pony Room and being around guys like Johnny and Jeremy and that sort of thing, to then at Onslow and seeing, how different people ran that place. And the, me, Carl's daughter, the Sophie Egan's, Leah Kirkland, Arun, that's a guy that I spent, hours next to, kind of thing. Within that bond, like,
he's a
the
good
bar
dude.
with someone, like,
he's a really good dude.
So you kind of just learn all these things, and it's just seeing, and you just, I'm incredibly privileged to be where I am because of what those people did for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, well, dude, honestly, it's also a testament to your character. The fact that way from start, from 17 years old, there are people that saw the potential and the spark within you, and to have, at two different occasions, separated by years, to have people of, frankly, a status that a lot of hospitality people look up to, say, you could make a career out of this, is, just a testament to what people see in you, the comfort that people have in terms of giving you the keys to take hold of Goblin and things like that. Speaking from my own personal experience, there's been times that people, I think, have seen that spark in me and I've let them down. And there's other people that I've witnessed be handed the keys of something and then let their sort of mentors down and things like this, that it's just like the fact that you've been able to take it and run it, and like, the Bar Society's worked with Goblin since it opened, and we were introduced through Theo.
Yeah.
And every interaction that we've had is great. Every time I ask you how the bar's doing, it's always, constant improvement.
Yeah.
The fact that you stay committed to people like Lauda, and she's now in there,
it's
running the bar and things like this. This community, the people that you have around you, and they look after you, you look after them. It's just, it's fucking awesome to see.
Thanks,
from an
mate.
outside perspective. It's really, really cool.
No,
I love it.
I appreciate it a lot. Like, it's the respect that when it's people in the industry who say it as well. That's also, for me, it's it's like that's what gives it meaning. Really.
Yeah.
And then even then with people, I wasn't. It's not all been perfect the whole way. Like, I was a bit of a shitbag at times. I was 21, 22. Like, sometimes arrogance and ego got in the way. Kind of thing.
Yeah,
or
for sure.
perhaps bridges got not burnt, but definitely
smoldered.
Smoldered a little. That with the the drive perhaps, or the always pushing for more. But for me, it's a case of like I can look at where it's quite the beauty of where Goblin is, and like having hoppers next door. I can look at the kitchen where I started working at when I was 17.
Yeah, that is quite cool.
And it's quite a and I made a promise to myself then that things were going to be better.
Mm-hmm,
you're not going to be doing this forever, kind of thing. And so that's something that keeps me very honest.
Yeah.
To that.
Yeah.
And again with the people, the loyalty between someone like myself and Lauda, the ties run deep.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that it's always smooth sailing, but and even with the wider people involved in Goblin, it is a community. Like there is, from the music with Sam Harmon and Chris Cox through to Hamish's involvement in the creative design of the venue and the direction there that he gives to, the way that obviously, myself and my own, drive for it kind of thing. My mum does my accounts kind of thing as well, so she's fully involved with the business too. So it is a family business, so to speak. To then, bring through wanting to bring through a next generation, and some of my younger guys, which reminds me of how painstakingly annoying I must have been, and the patience needed from others, to really, it is a reminder of that too. Like,
no, for sure. I love that. This is the first time I've ever heard the whole story.
Right. Okay.
And so it's like it gives me good vibes,
Oh,
you know.
Thanks.
It just like it feels like it's meant to be, and you know, you seem like someone that has control of themselves. You know, but like the thing is, like you can have control of yourself and slip up every now and again.
Yeah.
But the ability to acknowledge the slip up
Yep.
and course correct, you know, I think is something that you possess. And that's not something that everyone possesses because, you know, as we talk about like the arrogance and ego of hospitality, like, fuck, I speak from my own personal experience. There's been some interactions that I've had with people that I have just been too much of a fuckwit to say sorry or apologize or admit my, you know, my wrongdoing. And it served me negatively, you know, and that wave
Yep.
echoes through other things.
Yep.
And it's probably taken like a lot of work myself to be able to recognize that that has happened, because when the ego's driving and the bad echo's going, you don't even fucking know it.
Yeah.
You just blind eye, you know, move on with life. But no, I've really enjoyed watching sort of the formation of Goblin. When I first walked in and I saw like the pastel blue staircase, and I was like, what the fuck? You know, this is unique. And then you get up to the top level and there's that long table with the old school TV and like deer antlers hanging on the wall with like keys. I was like, this is a real interesting place. And then you walk into the bar and it's, you know, it goes from pastel blue to like your dark woods and things like this. I was like, it's a little bit out there.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. And then I remember you and Theo were there and you gave me a key ring with the Goblin face on it with the number on the background. I chucked that on my keys, and like, you know, every time I see you and talk to you, all the good things I hear, you know, I always hear good things.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you've got Jeremy across the road at Bedford. So like even the people that you've come up with and have trained you and been mentors in different ways, they're all still kind of close as well.
Yeah.
And there's that whole community is really there.
And I love that about Ponsonby.
Yeah.
You know, I you know, you can kind of go for a walk and, you know, you're bound to bump into someone that you know, kind of have a bit of a chat with them, and it doesn't have to be about work. It can just be about like how you doing, or like how's your team going, or how's this going.
Yeah.
And it's really comforting.
For sure. And I bet they're the type of people that would also be a great ear to sort of speak into, to get a little bit of advice or help in certain areas and things like that. So that leads me to like, what are some things that you've come across in running Goblin that have been like hard but really beneficial learning experiences?
So the hardest one actually, and it was getting used to those late nights again.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd been out of the game a little bit, and that's to be honest, that's why I held back and saying I'd just be a consultant, is because I had a bit of self doubt about being able to step back into the bar, so to speak. You know, but I mean that's why, you know, you get people, and I don't have the answer to everything, and that's why for our team as well, it's why we're so diverse.
Yeah.
Is because if it's 15 versions of me, it's going to be terrible.
You're
fucking
bipolar.
Some people might like that, but you know, so building a diverse team was really important to helping with a lot of those hurdles, because you never know who's going to come up with the answer.
Yeah,
and that's something really beautiful. But some of the challenges, I mean, you know, just starting out, it's brutal. It's brutal, and then then you have the nights where you might have some quiet nights where you're like, okay, we're just going to drive home with no music on tonight and just stare into the void. And we're not going to think about anything, but we'll get up and tomorrow will be better.
Yep.
And that's sort of, I think, for a lot of hospitality, it's like this. Perhaps like you could, if it was clinically diagnosed, that would be unhealthy optimism. Tomorrow's always going to be better. You know, that's kind of the constant mindset. Is
Yeah.
like, oh, well, today was a bit meh, but tomorrow's going to be like, we're going to be ready.
Yep.
It's going to be pumping.
Yep.
It's showtime. It's like, so challenges, I mean, just... It's been a lot. It's been a lot. It's been, and again, I'm still learning kind of thing. Like, I do not have the answers. I do not have the magic turnkey solution kind of thing. So that's been, it's been a challenge on myself to kind of learn how to, run a place, and not only, I can always know that I manage myself, but kind of managing my people, kind of thing, and building a team, and it's been an interesting experience.
Dealing, this is fucking maybe a little bit off topic, but it relates back to a line that this guy says. Have you ever listened to Dave Ramsey, financial dude? Okay, he's like a financial redneck, old dude. Went bankrupt in his 20s. Clawed himself out of it. Now he's like almost a billionaire type thing. But he has a radio show where he gives financial advice. And he talks about like sort of mistakes in business. And he has this line, business is easy until people get involved. And I've always boiled that down to be like dealing with people as a whole, whether they're a customer or a staff member. The people are the hardest part to figure out.
Yep.
And if you can figure out how to deal with the people, business is pretty easy after that, because then you're just putting out fires, like literally putting out a fire, like there's no emotional scarring of that.
There's not, no. And for Goblin, I mean, it's very different. People kind of get that. It's very different to what was out there, and we wanted it to be that way. We've been very confident about knowing who our audience is. And knowing what they want, kind of thing. And it's some people don't get that, and that's okay. It's not their cup of tea. It's all right. But for those that do, they love it. And for a place like Goblin, it's about building a culture that's, there will be people that come to the bar that never come. Apart from the afternoon. And there are people that will only ever come to Goblin after midnight. When it becomes the soft club for a late night boogie. But they both have the same love and appreciation for the space. For entirely different reasons. And that's really quite something, when you see that with people and and what it means to them, that's when you know that you're doing it kind of thing. It's not what it means to, I can sit here and talk for ages about what Goblin means to me and what it means to the people that helped build it and that. But when you see what it means to your customers or guests, as Laura calls them, she refuses to refer to them as customers.
Always guests.
It's always guest styling. So it's and you see what it means to them. That's when it's special. Then is when people have sort of taken what you've created and made it their own, and and they hold it so dear. That's pretty cool. That's the
I one thing I appreciate about Goblin, the toilets are nice.
Thanks.
Like that is just sometimes an overlooked portion, and like a nice toilet. To be fair, I'm sorry to anyone that thinks this is vulgar. Occasionally, you have to take a shit in a public spot, and no one likes taking a shit in a shit toilet. Like so. Just a nice toilet is something I always appreciate about a venue. It's clean, it's classy, it's black, and it's also a contrast of what the rest of the venue is. It's all, as we were talking before, the lampshades are upside down. And, there's fucking antlers everywhere and everything's wood, and then the bathroom is like black tile. Stainless steel bench, nice vanity. Like, just...
A lot of
things.
It's a juxtaposition of itself.
A
lot of parts of the bar. And
that
includes like even how the bar's designed and what it looks like, and then you've got these exceptionally well crafted cocktails. And it's this whole thing of like these two things, but it works.
Opposites attract. No, I love it. I think it's great. So for anyone that's listening that hasn't been to Goblin, when are you guys open?
So Wednesdays through to Saturdays, So we open up from 5 o'clock till late, and wide variety of different. Pretty much every day something different. We do jazz once a week every Wednesday, which is a beautiful experience with Joe Capteen. And then Thursdays, we do a wide variety of different comedy nights.
Mm-hmm. That'll be cool.
We do the Goblin Girls, all-female comedy lineup. And they're amazing. You see something. I remember the first time, their first show last December, and magic when you see it.
Yeah.
I've seen enough live acts to know that when I see it. And then, we've done live bands. We always do DJs Fridays and Saturdays. And that's a mix of vinyl or electronic. And it's such a wide variety of music too. I mean, Sam was part of Golden Dawn, so he knew the brief, so to speak. It's kind of like we didn't really have a big overarching mission statement with it all, but everyone knew roughly what it needed to be. We all knew what it
had to feel like.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing with it, is a feeling that you thought you'd sort of forgotten with hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we felt was missing. And then, we'll be doing Sundays sort of once a month over summer for like a big sort of Sunday session, summer boogie, once a month kind of thing. So the first one of those starts next weekend. And we're just we're seeing where we go. It's not, we're constantly challenging ourselves to evolve. We've constantly pushed the boundaries. I mean, we built a deck because we needed one.
Yep.
Kind of thing. And that was more by chance than by design kind of thing. I mean, it was last January, some guy decided to climb out one of the windows onto the roof, and then I'm standing out there with him, and it's 1 a.m, and I'm telling him to get inside, and at the same time I'm like, actually I'm having a bit of an epiphany right now. This is gonna be... I remember texting the group chat the next day being like, hey guys, so unfortunately someone climbed on the roof last night, but I might have an idea, let me flesh this thing out, and then we'll get back to you. And then we built a deck off the back of that, so it's kind of great. It's constantly evolving.
Yep.
And we know it will.
Yep.
So it's going to be a really exciting journey.
Cool.
Which I hate saying the word journey sometimes. It is.
Life's a journey.
And I'm very excited to see where it goes. Do I have an idea of where it's going to go? No. Did I think I'd be running a bar stroke soft club? No. But here I am. So, see where it goes.
Fucking oath, 100%. Now, we always finish on a breadcrumb mojito moment.
Yeah.
Which is, we talked about this the other day when we were chatting, but a fuck up from way back when you started to sort of finish on a humbling note. Have you thought of a breadcrumb mojito moment?
Well, I have a lot.
Okay.
And if you ask the right people, they will tell you of the multiple breadcrumb mojito moments I've probably had. No, the main one that always sticks out to me was when I was learning how to bartend, and it was at Golden Dawn. It was on a Sunday night, and so the inside bar was only open on the Sunday night. And I was learning off Margarita was her full name.
Okay.
A beautiful person.
Great name for a bartender.
Great name for a bartender as well. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So Rita got left with the unfortunate task of having to train 19-year-old me how to make drinks, and I remember serving someone in the house for a whiskey sour. And we were like, yeah, I got you. Basically just made a CC and dry. With like a bit of lime juice. Basically a dark and stormy, but with CC. And, but it was more, again, fake it till you make it. The confidence of serving this drink to this person.
There's whiskey and it's a little bit sour.
It's a little bit sour, which, like, if you think about it, it technically kind of is.
Yeah.
And so I remember putting this across to them, and they were sort of like, okay, like I blame them. They took the drink. Yeah. And then Rita catches me out of the corner of her eye, and she's just like, what the fuck? Comes over, it's like, Jack, what the fuck are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Like talking a million miles an hour. I'm like, what's the whiskey's out? She's like, no. It's just not like, she's like, fuck. And she's like, calls the person, I'm so sorry. Like, da, 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 da. But yeah, that was that's one that always sticks out in my mind was, and again, I blame the guest. Not pulling me up on it. They were like, okay, this is a whiskey sour, I suppose. So that's like one that always sticks out. With me for like.
That's great. That is fucking great. I love that. I was here
bartending in Auckland at around that same time that you did that, and CC and Dry was such a popular drink back then when I started, and fuck, yeah, that is great. I love that. Yeah, whiskey sour. There's a CC and Dry with some lemon juice, lime juice. Yeah, I love that.
It's a great drink.
That's great. That is, a prime example of like my breadcrumb mojito moment. Just so close, but so
close,
far
but
away.
So far. It's amazing because I love sours. So that was like my first. That became my first. That was probably the start of me really getting into cocktails then, because I went through, as every bartender does, their phase of like sours.
Yeah. It's always one of the first ones. Yeah, for sure. Love that. Perfect, bro. Right. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Hey, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
It was a good chat, and I really appreciated like hearing the whole journey, story.
Yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And I can't wait to see the continuous growth and evolution, and see what the fuck Goblin does next. Takes over Ponsonby.
Who knows? We might blow the roof off it.
Well, hey, fuck it, it'll be fun. Mm-hmm. And yeah, also just excited to see where you continue off to do.
Thanks.
There might be another venue on the cards and a whole bunch of other things that are unforeseen.
Who knows? I mean, I did not think I would be here, so I'm kind of, I don't believe in the 5-year plan. I technically should. People tell me you're in a position now. You should have the 5-year plan. I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice.
My plan was to plan in 5 years.
My plan's just to get through to the end of this month. To be honest, that's my plan.
Yeah, preach. I think a lot of us are operating on that plan.
I'm a small business owner. That's all I'm getting to. And then I think about the 20th of the month the next week. So
fucking oath. But great chat. Thank you very much for your time.
It's a pleasure to come on.
Hey. Always a pleasure, never a chore.
Yeah.
And thank you, everyone else. Thank you very much. Oh,
thanks, man.
Good shit, bro. Thank you. Alrighty.
That's it for this week's episode of the Breadcrumb Mojito Podcast. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at the Breadcrumb Mojito Podcast, and look out for next week's episode.